I saved thousands of dollars on my wedding dress, and I'm going to tell you how I did it. Buying it overseas in Vietnam, and I did my experience completely online, which is contrary to the typical experience of most people actually flying into Vietnam to do a fitting at least once. I'm going 100% blind, and I'm going to tell you how you yourself can do it and save yourself at least an $800 ticket. Now, when you do get these low prices, you are expected to pay for shipping, which is around 100 and as high as $200 depending on how large the dress is. The way I found my shop was I was going looking through the shops that reputable YouTubers have already gone to, and these are bigger shops. Their prices are higher than the typical Vietnamese shops. When I was looking on Instagram for a shop, I saw multiple shops following this one shop. So I kept seeing Phuan Bridal everywhere. I was like, oh, okay. So that's when I found their actual Instagram page. And on that Instagram page, I saw a lot of sewing videos of like how they're sewing the wedding dresses, their progress during making the wedding dresses. They don't have many finished wedding dresses on their page, which I'm not too sure why that is the case. They do have a second page which does have only finished wedding dresses, and in that second page called Phuan Bridal as well, the most beautiful dresses. I'm going to show you over here. It's gorgeous. I love the big rosette on the wedding dress. Okay. And then once they showed me the fabric that selection that I wanted, I then started talking to them about like the shape and style of dress I want. So I'm going to let you know what I'm going to get. I'm going to be getting a mermaid dress with a ball gown detachable skirt. It is not like going to be an A-line skirt. It's going to be a full-on ball gown. And I'm going to be getting a cape because I'm extra like that. And why not? It was affordable to me, so I'm going to get a cape. So once I show them the ideas of what I want, I'm going to also show you like my collage that I made. It's up here. This is the beautiful collage I made about what I want for my wedding dress. And they went off of all that and they made me a design through AI at first. I think we went back and forth at least 3 to 4 times with different AI pictures of what I was thinking about. And then I think it took 3 days. On day 3, they brought me back a sketch. And once I got my sketch, I gave them the approval to go ahead with the design. And once that happened, we started talking money and contracts. So they gave me a basic contract that I signed and said I will be giving them a 50% deposit. And once I give them the 50% deposit, they will start making my dress. How did I go and get them that 50% deposit? I went through an app called Wise. This is a very common app used when you're doing international deposits. You're going to be using those Wise app. It has one of the lowest fees you can get for foreign transactions. So my 50% deposit was $645. So in the end, my whole wedding dress is going to be around $1,300. I am going to also have to pay shipping on that. They do custom make this to your measurements that you measured out. So you do get a little bit of savings in the fact that you don't have to get it altered as much. You still might have to get it altered. There is never a guarantee that the dress is going to fit. It is actually very easy. They gave me their banking information. I was a bit nervous about it when I did it. I did a wire transfer instead of a credit card. I recommend doing it through credit card if you have the extra cash. It costs around $6 transaction fee to do it with debit, and it costs $50 extra if you want to do a credit. So that is the downside, but you are protected on your credit card. So after I gave them my 50% deposit, they also gave me a video on how to measure myself properly, and they needed 16 different measurements from me, from my wrist to my waist size. They needed every little bit. They said the more measurements, the better, which I'm glad they gave me a video on how to properly measure myself and what each measurement meant. I went through that video. I think it was like around 5 minutes of a full video on how to do the measurements. If you want a really good tip, I recommend you measuring yourself while on videos. They will also be asking you for pictures of how you look just to make sure the measurements aren't off. and that you measured yourself correctly. After I got the measurements in, I think I finished that around May 15th. We are in July 18th, so 2 months later, I'm about to get the first picture of my wedding dress. It is not completed, and on the day that they showed me the picture, it still will not be completed. But after it is completed, it's going to take around 5 days for it to be shipped here. I hope you stick around so that you can see the dress. Now, they do contact you almost weekly. I also go and contact them around the same amount of frequency, just to let, like, as updates, being like, is there anything new? Just wanted to say hi, kind of thing. The person I'm in contact with is named May, and that's spelled Mai. She's giving me really great updates. One thing that did go wrong so far during this dress process was the fabric came out to be an ivory color or an off-white color, whatever you like to say it. The color I wanted to go with was like almost like a pure white. I didn't want that like yellowish on it. I feel like it didn't match my skin tone. I feel like I do best with like very bright whites. It really highlights me. And the dress I was freaking out the entire time when she told me that. I was like, oh no, I can't have that. That's the one thing I didn't want. And the fact that this one came out the wrong white, which I don't know, maybe I'm a bridezilla for this, but the wrong white did not go well for me. And I was feeling bad for May because I was flipping out. I was like, oh, we need to change the fabric. We need to change the design. If we change the fabric, we can't have the same design if the fabric isn't right. And May was telling me this entire time, and I wasn't listening. She can lighten the fabric. I went on Reddit. They told me in seamstress Reddit, you cannot lighten the fabric. She's lying to you. And I was like, oh no, May wouldn't do that to me. Why would May lie to me? I went to May and I was like, the internet said you can't lighten the fabric. She's like, I have industrial equipment. I'm going to lighten this fabric. You don't even have to worry. I didn't even need to tell you about this. She shouldn't have told me about this because I know nothing about lightening fabric. Just lighten the fabric. Show me a sample being like, hey, I lightened the fabric. Do you like this color? I would have been like, yeah, I do like that color, May. That was perfect. So she did lighten the fabric. She has industrial grade equipment to lighten the fabric. She does it all the time. And I had nothing to worry about. So that is another advantage of going with Vietnam versus, I guess, like a seamstress